Philly has some amazing outdoor spaces where we can slow down and relax. And that's why many have created new outdoor spaces through community gardens. There's an estimated 190 independently run community gardens in Philly where neighbors grow flowers and produce, gather as a community, develop bonds, and heal. Since it's towards the end of summer and those garden beds are in bloom, I went out to the Northeast to see how one group is helping military veterans and the surrounding community heal through gardening. It's Monday, August 18th. I'm Trinity Marie, and I'm hanging out with Heroic Gardens. All right, I'm walking through sunflowers that are taller than me. I see raised beds of vegetables and herbs, and I hear cicadas. I'm sitting here with Kalia Turner, the founder and executive director of this space called Heroic Gardens. Kali, where exactly are we right now?
Oh my goodness. Welcome to my office. We're on the corner of Torresdale and McGurgy Streets in Northeast Philadelphia. This is the former site of the Lidenfield projects, also the former site of World War II housing for veterans when they returned from service and had nowhere to go.
Did you know that even before you got the land?
I did.
Okay.
It feels like a very full circle moment for our organization to be able to honor those men and women that lived here so long ago. If you grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, what we're coming to learn is that you are familiar with Lidenfield. You might have had somebody, a grandparent that lived here. You might have grown up here. There are lots of good memories. There are lots of not good memories, a lot of emotion. And this 26-acre space, it was time for it to heal. So here we are, 1 acre of sunflowers. We didn't know if this was actually going to work because underneath this soil there is still a significant amount of building material. These are 100-day sunflowers, which means we started planting in early April. So you can see they're 10, 12 feet, some of them. We definitely, some that are smaller. I'd love to bring you over here. We're calling this area, which feels 10 degrees cooler, right? The Trees of Hope. And it's an interactive activity. We've asked people to bring, we have colored tags on the table there, and they take a pen and they write something that they're hopeful for, and then they attach it to the tree. I think even having a table in this setting has been really sweet. Like, it's really nice to see people coming back here and just taking a minute and, again, not recognizing you're in the heart of the city.
So take me back, because you have a connection. Your grandfather was a vet.
I started Heroic Gardens kind of as a love letter to my grandfather. He was a medic in World War II. And when he returned home from service, he bought a house in Somers Point, New Jersey, that had an acre of property behind it, and he grew a vegetable garden. And, fast forward several decades later, I come along and it became a thing that we did together. It wasn't until I was in my 30s and I had a garden of my own that I truly understood what he was doing out there. And that was, he was utilizing the land to heal. And I knew that because I felt the same way when I was in the soil. I didn't know that horticultural therapy was even a thing. I just knew how I felt. So I started Heroic Gardens without that knowledge, and I thought, my gosh, there must be something I can Google. And of course, there it was right in front of me, and I immediately enrolled in Temple University's horticultural therapy program. Plants are older than us. Plants are the reason, one of the reasons we are alive. Everybody needs to have a better awareness of not only what you're eating, but how much having plants around us can impact our health and well-being.
Obviously, these 12-foot sunflowers are, you notice it. What else is planted in this garden?
Yeah, there's a mini meadow in the front, and that was donated to us by the Pinelands Nursery of New Jersey. And again, that was to attract pollinators, butterflies. You'll see a row of milkweed, and that's specifically for monarchs. There were a lot of perennials donated around our potting shed. And the other thing you'll see in the front of the farm are raised beds that I was mentioning early. We decided that we wanted to install raised beds here. We have some friends that are fourth generation farmers in Deptford, New Jersey. They gave us the food plugs, and we've been growing fresh food. To date, we have bagged 150 bags of fresh produce that we have given to the neighborhood for free. So we have a cooler outside. Anybody that's here, your job is to pick what is ripe, put it in those bags, and make sure it's in that cooler.
I don't have a green thumb, but what are the benefits of sunflowers? Is there a reason why you guys are planting sunflowers?
Yes. So first of all, it's a myth that you don't have a green thumb, and I am happy to help you change that.
I don't know.
So one of the first things we did was we went to the USDA. We registered the space as a farm. So we are urban farm number 50. And as a result of that, they came out and they did a whole bunch of soil tests because we want to baseline it. We want to know what the toxicity levels are. The point of doing sunflowers is it is a couple of things. It is known that sunflowers help bring toxins to the surface. So I don't want anyone eating any of these sunflower seeds because we don't know what's below the soil. We're still waiting on our results. But the second, sunflowers really symbolize hope. And you'll see a lot of the word hope around here. And, it's not only for veterans in that capacity. I think this world right now that we live in, hope is a huge, huge piece of it. So, and sunflowers are hardy. I mean, these are 100-day variety. And so we planted them in April. And they're hardy, they're beautiful. People love them.
Is the farm open to the public?
It sure is. So we are open every other weekend on Saturdays and Sundays. But we also are starting to add programming. So we will soon have sunrise yoga. We will have a mental health series. We are hosting a horticultural event here. And anytime the gates are open, we do have a sign that I usually put. But I'll tell you what, if anybody comes in, we're not turning them away. It is free for anyone to come. You don't have to go to Bucks County. You don't have to go to South Jersey. Just come here and relax.
After the break, I'm talking with Navy veteran Salome Hall about how a program through Heroic Gardens taught them about caring for green spaces and using those skills to reconnect with their Cobbs Creek community out in West Philly as a disabled veteran. If you're looking for more ways to enjoy Philly this summer, check out the Independent Seaport Museum and Homebrewed events for the first ever Drink the Delaware Festival. The festivities kick off on Sunday, September 7th from 4 to 9 p.m. Enjoy samples of local beer, ciders, and spirits, and learn how water is used in the process of making these drinks. Because regardless of what's in your glass, we can all cheer for the people keeping our region's waterways clean. This event is for those 21 and up. Tickets start at $50 per person and are going fast. Purchase yours at phillyseaport.org/drinkthedelaware. Salome, you participated in a 10-week plant care course organized by Heroic Gardens at the Veterans Affairs Hospital in University City. What exactly brought you to that program?
Ambition, but just a very small mission to not kill plants, learn a little more about how to take care of them every time I'd been gifted one or attempted to purchase one or took like a terrarium building class or something, everything died. So I just assumed I wasn't someone who could grow things. But the atmosphere felt comfortable. The invite was like a 10-week program. It's going to tie into the VA's whole health program, which is they have different sections about like mindfulness and being, intentional about what you eat, exercise, and your social network. So the program was around those key points that they tried to hit. So it was something I was doing at the VA at that moment. I had a whole health coach, and so I was encouraged and kind of interested in seeing how applicable it could be, and it ended up being one of the most like life-changing experiences I've had.
So you're not active
No,
right now?
I've
Okay,
been
okay.
out of the military since 2010. I'm a disabled veteran, and it's awkward to be a young person and 20 in your 20s and be a disabled person, and people don't always understand it or treat you with a certain level of humanity. A lot of disabled people don't get that. So to be in a space where there were ways, there were adjustments made, there was thought to the needs of different people, really helped me realize, okay, you can make space for yourself and you can take up space and let people know what you need, and that way you don't have to be closed off.
So you did the 10-week program and then you kept going?
Well, in the middle of the 10-week program, I met Kali, and I confessed that I had started my application for my own home garden transformation. There's an application you can do, and Rural Gardens will come out and basically like help you figure out how to grow things in your yard and what's going to work best based on where you live. They mapped out where we would be putting the garden boxes, and it was just about, okay, let's plan when we're going to do the cleanup. And that ended up being one of the biggest parts of the experience. It ended up falling on Navy Day here in Philly, and there was about a dozen sailors, active duty sailors, who came out to my block to help clean out my yard. My yard's tiny. You know how small these Philly row home gardens. Like it's not that big. And I said, I'm not gonna have like a dozen 18 to 25-year-olds out on my block and have them just clean my yard. So I set up a block cleanup, encouraged my neighbors to come out. We did a cookout, and it was a really connecting moment for us as a community. I think seeing my neighbors crying, just saying we've never gotten attention like this, positive attention, was really transformative. I'm not from Philly. I'm from Brooklyn, and moving here, I think some of my neighbors were suspicious of me when we first moved in, which I get it, but I think that was a moment that shifted our relationship and our ability to trust each other as neighbors, which is what it should be. But something had to break the ice, and it ended up being this really positive moment. It was really a positive experience that impacted everyone and gave us some really positive memories for our neighborhood, for our block, some place that you walk and live through every day of your life, and to feel that space was given reverence, was respected. It means a lot to a lot of people to know that they had value.
You've told me a lot of the reactions from your neighbors, but what type of benefits have you gotten out of all this?
I'm more confident, as outside of just putting something in the ground and feeling more comfortable that I would be able to nurture it to something that can grow and develop. I've learned to apply that to myself. When we moved to Philly in 2020, I was homebound. My chronic disability from being in the Navy had kept me from leaving my home. In 2021, I had a surgery that gave me a little more freedom, but I still deal with chronic pain. But I felt like I needed to start doing something because the depression that sets in when you don't have any kind of like purpose. That's how I felt. And I wanted to start giving myself something to do. The first thing I did was the Heroic Gardens class, the 10-week course. This gave me guidance. Just the idea of having something to plan for. And I think a lot of veterans are left without that when we get out. They give us our classes on, what you can do, what your job title was. They give you, information on how to translate your resume. But they don't really give you a lot of skill building on how to just live after that life. Meeting Kali, knowing what Kali has gone through, some things that she was dealing with while starting this organization, gave me the courage to move into that space myself. And I've been operating a nonprofit for 3 years now.
Can you tell us the name of your nonprofit?
Yes, Sisters Affirming Sisterhood Project, SAS Project. And we're based out of Philly. We got our nonprofit status in January. And we're connected to 6 cities, giving away free clothing and toiletries to trans women and anyone else that needs those things. We do fashion shows. We're going to be at New York Fashion Week. We have a show coming up here in the fall. And we always have our shows using clothing that's already existing. So we're repurposing those items, upcycling. We like to teach people about mending and using what we have here. And I would have never gotten the courage or felt like I had a model to look out and see someone else doing something, regardless of what was going on in their body or in their day-to-day life, that they chose to still give out love, radical care. And that is what my work is rooted in, and I have Kali to thank for that.
That was Salome Hall and Kali Turner. Find out more information about Sisters Affirming Sisterhood Project and Heroic Gardens by clicking the links in the show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you want to get involved in a community garden in the city, visit the link to the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society in our show notes. And if you want to learn more about the community garden in the Northeast that we featured today, make sure you hit that link in the show notes and also tell a friend. While you're at it, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit the subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.